If you're in the market for a new mid to large SUV, or to be honest, any really impressive electric car, and you place an order for this vehicle after watching the video, which I'd be kind of surprised if you didn't actually, then make sure you use the code, guys. There's a link in the description, and that will get you a free $1,000 car charger. Guys, I love the Tesla car brand, but Tesla are in trouble. They're in trouble here in Australia because the new Xpeng G6, it blows the Model Y out of the water. And I mean, from almost every single way you look at this, Model Y sales here in Australia, they could drastically collapse. Now, price will be officially revealed for the Xpeng G6 in September. But if you watch this video, you'll find out some information which will really show you why Tesla could be in big trouble here in Australia. Guys, I have put a ton of effort into getting you the most information possible for the Xpeng G6 versus the Tesla Model Y. Now that I know pretty much what the price is going to be, technically Xpeng can't officially reveal the price, but I can kind of tell you guys an approximate number for the price. I now know that the Xpeng G6 just destroys the Model Y. I've looked at every detail, guys. I've spent hours and hours and hours. I know a lot of people are going to be offended by this video. If you own a Model Y specifically, I know it's going to be hard to kind of stomach this, but you know what? The world moves on. Technology is improving. The Xpeng G6, looking at the value, looking at the features, looking at the range, looking at exactly what you get down to basically the smallest detail, this thing has a structural battery pack with 2 gigacastings, the same as the Model Y. They've replaced 300 parts with 2 gigacastings. The weight is the same as the Model Y. The value blows it out of the water. It's not even close. I mean, mind blown. This vehicle, if you haven't already pre-ordered it, you might have already missed out, guys. I'm telling you the truth. I honestly think the minute people see this video, the minute people know the price of the G6 and they realize what they're getting for the money, I think it could sell out for a year. I'm just being honest with you, totally honest with you. I think it could sell out for a year. The day that people know this information, they're going to order this car. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. Great to have you with us. You're watching the Electric Viking. My name's Sam Evans. Here is a comparison between the Model Y and the new Xpeng G6. It's just been launched in Australia. It will be here in Australia in, I believe, 4 weeks' time. Deliveries are in October, and there'll be two versions. A short range version with 435 kilometers of range, kind of compares to the existing Tesla Model Y. Car sales here in Australia, they're saying that will be around 53,000. Now, I don't know what the price of that version is going to be. All I know is what car sales have said. Xpeng has not told me anything about the price of that one. The approximate price of the long-range version of the G6 is around about $60,000. Now, when you buy a Tesla Model Y standard range, you can't pay it's 56,000 Australian dollars here in Australia, but you do have to pay an order fee. That adds $1,400 plus a buying fee. That adds $400. Basically, now the price is $58,000. Then, if you don't want the one color that comes on with, that doesn't cost any more, you've got to pay extra couple of $1,000s for paint. Basically, you're looking around $60,000 for the Model Y. Most people are paying around $60,000. If you want to get wheels, if you want to get enhanced autopilot, then you're paying more. The G6 has no options. Everything's standard. And when I say everything's standard, I mean you're getting more specification standard. There's been some articles, guys, in the mainstream media. They're absolute garbage because they're telling you the G6, it's got all these extra standard features. They don't even tell you what they are. It's like, what's the difference between what am I actually getting? I've read all their articles. I'm just like, guys, come on, put in some time, put in some effort. So I've got a spreadsheet here, guys. I've compared the Model Y standard specifications. I've compared them to the G6. The G6 for a very similar price to the Model Y is just miles better. Now, where is it better? Well, for starters, range. The range of the G6, right? I'm talking the long range here because that compares in price to the Model Y. It's 570 kilometers. That's a lot of extra range, right? The Model Y, 455 kilometers. So you get an extra 115 kilometers of range. But not only is the range much better, the charging speed is much, much faster. I mean, the Xpeng G6 has an 800 volt architecture. That means the charging curve is really, really high. They're saying that in China, the G6 is charging from 10 to 80% in 18 minutes. In China, it's charging in 18 minutes. Now, for that to happen for you in Australia, you need to find the right charger. Technically, you can charge it around 300. I mean, they're saying officially 280 kilowatt, but actually the truth is the maximum charging speed is 315 kilowatt. Xpeng CEO says the only car that you can buy in Australia that charges faster than the G6 is the Porsche Taycan. That's it. They're saying that it will charge faster than a Hyundai Ioniq 5 or Hyundai Ioniq 5, a Kia EV6. Basically, the other rivals that charge at 350 kilowatt, they're saying actually the G6 will charge faster from 10 to 80%. So anyway, whatever the case may be, it charges significantly faster than a Tesla Model Y. Now, what cars does this G6 compete with? Now, obviously, I've compared it to the Model Y, but there are other competition. The Ioniq 5, the Kia EV6, there's the Ford Mustang Mach-E, there's the Subaru Solterra, there's the Toyota BZ4X. Now, as you can see, most people are buying the Model Y, so I think that's the best comparison, and there's no point comparing it against products that are clearly significantly inferior, like the Mustang Mach-E, the Solterra, or the BZ4X from Toyota. This is just pointless because I don't think many people are interested in those cars, and to be honest, the G6 is just in a different category. It's a much, much better vehicle than those cars. How else is it different? How else is it better than a Model Y? Well, I've already told you a few of the reasons, but here's a range of other differences. Now, before I go on, guys, I have watched numerous videos of the G6 being tested, not just in China, but in Europe. Specifically, over the last few weeks, there's a few videos, there's good ones. I'll link to them in the description if you want to see them. People testing this car in Europe. There's very long videos, 46 minutes, that sort of thing. Don't know if you want to sit around and watch that. But basically, their takeaway on the G6 is the ride and the handling is a little bit softer than a Model Y, and they think that's a good thing. The comfort, it's a bit more comfortable to drive. The rear-wheel drive version of the G6, they're saying, has probably better handling than the all-wheel drive version of the G6. You can only buy the rear-wheel drive version here in Australia right now. Next year, you'll be able to buy the all-wheel drive version. So basically, next year you can buy the performance version of the G6, which competes with the Model Y performance. At this point in time, they only have rear-wheel drive. But, that's what most people want. Most people are more interested in the long-range version of any EV pretty much that's on the market, as long as it's within their budget. So you get a 7-year warranty, right? You get 8 years, 160 kilometers on the battery. That's pretty much the same for all manufacturers, but 7-year warranty, that's considerably longer than Tesla's 4 years, nearly double. Paint. Okay, you buy a Tesla, you got to pay extras for the different colors of paint. Xpeng have confirmed to me today that you don't have to pay extra. It's a no-cost option. Whatever color you want, well, not whatever color you want. I think there's 6 different colors. That's a no-cost option. Metallic paint, no-cost option. 10-inch driver display with zero reflection. Now, this is a point that reviewers have talked about. I know a lot of people who have Model Ys don't care about this. I understand that, but it still is something to consider. There is a digital display right in front of the driver. It's a 10-inch display, and reviewers in Europe said there's zero reflection, as in that's a really cool feature. It's got some sort of coating on it that makes it not reflect any sunlight. Okay, what else has it got? Well, it's faster than the Model Y. So the Model Y standard range, it will do 0 to 100 or 0 to 62 miles an hour in 6.9 seconds. Now, the China version is faster, but we don't get the China version. That's the international version, 6.9 seconds. The G6 will do it in about 6.1 or 6.2. So it's nearly a second faster. It's got 230 kilowatt and 440 newton meters of torque. So a bit more power than a Model Y, which is the reason for that extra speed. What about weight? You guys are probably curious, what's the weight? Well, the weight of the long-range Tesla Model Y versus the long-range G6 is about the same. Now, obviously, the standard range version of the Model Y has a smaller battery pack, so that's going to be lighter. That's about 100 kilos lighter. But actually, if you're going spec for spec, long-range Tesla Model Y versus long-range Xpeng G6, the weight is very, very similar. It's almost identical. It has a heated steering wheel. Model Y doesn't have that, of course. Reviewers have said it's got a nicer cabin. I tend to agree. I went and saw a G6 in person at the Melbourne EV show. I also saw one in China a while back. What was that? About 2 months ago. It does look a bit nicer. It's not hugely different, but it is a little bit nicer. It has things like ambient lighting. It has some different kind of colors and textures that make it just a little bit nicer. Not a huge difference, but a bit nicer. The other thing I think I'll point out, guys, for me personally, I think the Xpeng G6 definitely looks much better than the Model Y, the current Model Y anyway. Okay, it has 12 cameras, 12 ultrasonic sensors, and 5 high-definition millimeter wave radar units. And I'll talk about why those things do actually matter in a couple of minutes when I explain what they do. It has vehicle to load. The Model Y unfortunately does not have vehicle to load, so you can potentially charge things in your house. You can actually get an adapter to use vehicle to load as vehicle to grid. That's possible, but of course, whether or not you want to do that, I don't know, because you're only going to be able to output about 3 kilowatt, but it's enough to run, to run your TV and your fridge if there's a power outage, for example. You can also use the car for camping for vehicle to load as well. No cost. Advanced autopilot, okay? The Xpeng G6, you don't have to pay for. If you want to get some of the features in the G6 in the Model Y, you've got to pay for enhanced autopilot. It's an extra, I think, $4,000 or $5,000, depending on the country you're in. The G6, it's a no-cost option. It comes with the same features as enhanced autopilot, and they do work. Reviewers have tested them in Europe. In China, they work actually very, very well, and I've mentioned that on the channel a few times as well. Battery pack, how big is it? It's actually quite a bit bigger than the battery in the long-range version of the Model Y. It's an 87.5 kilowatt hour net nickel manganese cobalt battery, an NMC battery. It gives it a range of 570 kilometers. Now, the long-range version of the Model Y, which is going to be approximately $10,000 more expensive than the long-range G6, it has 533 kilometers of range. So, yeah, I mean, you can see here, even the long-range version of the Model Y has a lot less range than the long-range version of the G6. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, is that range achievable? Well, guys, there was a test about 2 weeks ago in Europe, a big EV test, and the G6 won that test. This test was based on a combination of range, how far can you drive in the EV, and charging speed. And the G6 actually won it versus about 18 different electric cars. So it's getting pretty close to its claimed range. Now, speaking of charging, comparing the charging speed. I mean, obviously 310 kilowatt, 315 kilowatt charging, or at least 280, which is advertised, but I think 315 is what they're saying. That's a lot faster than the Model Y's charging of 170 kilowatt. Ventilated seats. Model Y, I believe, does not have that. I believe Model 3 does. Parking assist with a 360-degree camera. The parking assist is amazing. I've tried it out here in Australia. It's unbelievable. Not only that, it's insane because the parking assist identifies parking spots you don't even know exist. Like, I'm thinking, how's this car working out? There's a parking spot over there. I can't even see it. So that's where these radar sensors, these 30 different sensors come into play. This vehicle can almost see around corners. It sees parking spots you don't even know exist, and it can say to you, which one do you want to pick? You can pick a parking spot, and you just press a button on the screen. It's really fast. That's one thing reviewers pointed out. They said in other cars, to get the parking systems to work, it takes like a minute to figure it out. By then, you could have parked the car yourself. It's pointless. In this car, it takes like a couple of seconds just to press park and press over there, and it does it for you, and it works incredibly well. One point of difference between the Model Y. There's a comparison test compared to the Model Y. It's much quieter on the inside. It has a softer ride, as I mentioned before. And one of the point of difference, it actually does come with a tire repair kit. The seats are really good. That's what the commenters are saying on various different reviews. They're saying they feel like the seats are a little bit more comfortable than Model Y seats. Now, that's obviously going to be something particular to your body shape. All right, another thing some Model Y owners have complained about. Some people don't care about this, and that's fine. The Xpeng G6 does have wireless Android Auto and CarPlay. It didn't used to, but apparently it does now. Preheat the battery en route for optimal charging. So this is something the Model Y does. G6 does this as well. Some cars don't. It preheats the battery, which enables you to charge faster when you arrive at your destination. It comes standard with enhanced autopilot. I mentioned that before. It finds parking spaces you can't even see. It has a better back seat, so a bit bigger back seat than the Model Y. It also has the ability to recline the back seat. So there's 3 different positions you can recline the back seat in. That's kind of a cool feature. Now, one thing that the G6 has, which you would think would be a negative, and I normally point it out as a negative, it has 20-inch wheels, which would, affect your range. I mean, 570 kilometers of range, WLTP, is really good. If it had smaller wheels, it'd probably get even more range than that. It'd probably get even, close to 600 kilometers of range. But you're getting 20-inch wheels. A lot of people get those and they pay extra for those. Model Y, that's an option. You can pay extra, you get bigger wheels. It comes with those as standard. But apparently, one of the issues with bigger wheels, guys, is that it can mean that it's not as comfortable as having smaller wheels. But testers have said, actually, it's a more comfortable vehicle, and so it doesn't affect ride quality. Speed warning. Okay, guys, here's a big issue with a lot of EVs. Speed warning. It'll say you're breaking the speed limit. In the Build 803 I had, it would come up with that thing, you're breaking the speed limit. You're breaking the speed limit. If I was going like 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers an hour over the speed limit, 5 kilometers an hour over. In this vehicle, it has to have that. All cars now have to have this. They're mandated by law to have this now. But it comes up on the touchscreen, and you can immediately just press one touch button to turn it off immediately. So that's a kind of a good feature, because that would drive me crazy. It has rear cross traffic alert, which the Model Y does not have. Now, those are the big differences between this vehicle and the Model Y. But I'm going to just mention to you guys some of the features that this car has as well. 5-star safety result from the Euro NCAP score. So that will be, basically the Australian test is the same as Europe, so we'll get a 5-star safety rating. It has an 18 speaker sound system, a premium sound system. It comes with 2 amplifiers and a subwoofer, I believe. So reviewers have said the sound system is incredibly good. It has 1.5 tons towing, so you can tow this car. It has a 571 litre boot. The boot is a little bit smaller than the Model Y's boot. I believe the Model Y boot is about 120 litres bigger, but the Xpeng G6 has more space on the interior. So they've prioritized seating space versus boot space. But still, to give you some context, that's more boot space than, say, BMW X3, which is a similar size internal combustion vehicle. It comes standard with a heat pump. It has 4 USB ports, a Type 1 Type A, 3 Type Cs, and it also has 2 50-watt inductive charging trays for smartphones. Those charging trays are cooled as well. So sometimes smartphones will get overheated when they're being wirelessly charged. They have cooling for that. One point, guys, that I forgot to mention, the headrest has speakers in the headrest. So that's kind of a cool luxury feature. It has dual climate control with a pollen filter. It has semi-autonomous cruise control and an electric gesture control tailgate. So you can kind of kick underneath it, I think. That's what reviewers are saying, and it will open. What about the computing power of this vehicle? I mean, is it any good? Well, the software is actually really good. They've spent quite a bit of time on this in Europe, getting the software to work really well. And therefore, it's not like this vehicle is just coming straight out of China and you're going, oh, this software's crap. It actually is meant to be really good. The reviewers have been saying that on various videos that I've been watching. It has an NVIDIA Orin X processor and a Qualcomm Snapdragon 8155P chipset. So that's actually one of the fastest and most intelligent infotainment systems that you can get for any car. So that's a really big feature benefit here with this vehicle. It has 4 levels of regen for the brakes. So you've got 4 different settings. It has digital radio. You can use Amazon Prime Video on the big 15-inch screen. It's got Instagram, Apple TV, YouTube, Audible, Disney Plus, pretty much any app you want, you can get it on that screen. Now, reviewers have mentioned the tires. So I said before it comes to 20-inch wheels, but it also has 255/45 Michelin Sport EV tires. Apparently they've got really good grip and low noise levels, so that's one good feature. Colors. Okay, what colors does it come in? It's got graphite gray, midnight black, silver frost, fiery orange as well. So the fiery orange has apparently little purple flecks in it. Not really my thing, but some people will love it, I think. One of my youngest boy, he believed that was the Lamborghini color. So if you want a Lamborghini color, it's fiery orange. Standard safety features: adaptive cruise control, lane centering control, active lane change, automatic speed limiter, parking assist with a 360-degree camera. Obviously, unfortunately, the Model Y doesn't have a 360-degree camera yet. Driver monitoring system, forward collision warning, autonomous emergency braking, traffic sign recognition, blind spot detection, lane keep assist, rear collision warning, rear cross traffic alert, tire pressure monitoring, and it also has a new triple layer structure designed to withstand a 50-ton side impact. So I believe this and the Model Y, from what I've seen, are the 2 safest electric cars you can buy. Combine the giga casting with a structural battery pack, plus this triple layer structure, it sounds like it's going to be an incredibly safe vehicle. Here's the thing, guys. All those safety aids I just mentioned, a lot of cars have them, and they don't work that well, all right? Quite often you'll find a lot of these features will be in your car, and you'll turn them off because they piss you off and they're really annoying. They don't work that well. In the videos that I saw, there was no beeping, there was no bonging. These features were working perfectly. The reviewers said, well, they were surprised by how well they all worked. That's worth pointing out. It has a non-round steering wheel. So some reviewers, well, not some actually, only Car Expert, they're the only ones who've complained about this. They said the non-round steering wheel is really annoying to them. To be honest, nobody else has mentioned this. So I don't think that's a real legitimate negative. I like the steering wheel. So I don't think that's going to bother many people. It has a smaller, like I said, a smaller boot than the Model Y. Not a big difference, but it is smaller. It has no frunk. So in the front of the vehicle, there's no frunk. I don't think anyone uses the front, but anyway, that might be something for you. It has no Sentry mode or dash cam as far as I can work out. So Sentry mode, I believe Tesla's the only company that really has Sentry mode. It's kind of a cool feature. Someone comes along, scratches your car, they get filmed. And I had someone scratch my car recently. Would have been nice if I had Sentry mode, because then I could find out who they were potentially and get them to pay for the damage that they caused to my car. That's kind of a cool Model Y feature, but I don't think any other brands have that yet. Charging network integration. Here's the big benefit of the Model Y, the Model 3, any Tesla vehicle. The charging network integration is awesome. You know, obviously, yes, the Xpeng G6 will have access to Tesla's chargers, but that whole Tesla integration into their software with their charging network it's really an experience, I think, that no one else can boast. It is an advantage. Energy consumption. Energy consumption is slightly higher than a Model Y, 17.5 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. One of the reasons is probably the bigger wheels. Ultimately, though, it's not really that different. Energy consumption is only slightly higher than the Model Y. Now, here's the other downside. There will be a new version of the Model Y coming next year. Who knows when? The Juniper. Honestly, though, I can't see it having this range of features. Are Tesla going to come along and add 315 kilowatt charging? I don't think so. They might. Are they going to increase the power significantly? I don't think so, but they could. Will they improve range from 455 kilometers all the way up to 570? Maybe, but I don't know. Will they give the vehicle 360-degree viewpoint? Will they give it rear cross traffic alert? To be honest, the G6 has a lot of features that I've mentioned here in this video that the Model Y does not have. And the new Model Y could have them, it might not. It could come in January, it could come in March. To be honest, guys, I don't know. But right at this point in time, comparing the two vehicles, the G6 is so much better than the Model Y. You'd have to be a bit crazy or an absolute hardcore Tesla fan, and I'm talking here in Australia, by the way, in order to get the Model Y over the G6. I think, as you can see, the G6 is going to sell out. I mean, guys, whatever cars they've got, I'm not exactly sure what they've ordered, but I don't think they're going to be able to meet demand at this price point. Either that or they're just going to increase the price. So I would suggest to you, if you haven't already put in a pre-order, I've said in my previous video, don't pre-order the car, but now I know the approximate price and I know the specs you're getting, exactly the details here. I'm like, hell, I would be... If you want to get a new EV, I'd be putting in a pre-order immediately, because otherwise you're going to be either waiting a very long time or paying more, because I think Xpeng are probably going to see, whoa, okay, we got all these orders. Apparently they've already got hundreds of orders. So we've got all these orders. We're going to increase the price. We don't need to sell it this cheap. That's what might happen. Now, if you want to put in a pre-order, I don't make any money from this at all, but I do have a code here from Xpeng. I've asked them for one. I said, guys, I think people are going to see my video. They're going to go, well, holy smokes, this thing's freaking amazing. I want to order it. I want to put in a pre-order. What can I give you guys? So you guys, there's a link in the description. If you click on that link, you will get a charger valued at $1,000. This is for your home. They'll basically install it for you. So this covers the installation cost plus this charger. If you don't want that, they'll organize something else for you. So that's basically just basically like something for saying thank you for supporting EVs and supporting the Electric Viking on YouTube. So I'll put that link in the description below. Like I said, I don't make any commission on that at all. Guys, let me know what your thoughts are on this. I'm actually really excited because I think, wouldn't that be interesting to see potentially, Xpeng, this brand new car company in Australia, maybe even outsell something like a Toyota RAV4. I think it could happen. As long as Xpeng can get enough cars here, this thing is going to be an enormous success. It's such a good car. The standard specifications are amazing, and it's a good enough size. There's so many people that need a car this kind of size. They need a big boot. They need, they've got, say, 2 kids. They need space for their, potentially put the seats down. You can camp in the back. It's got camp mode, right? Potentially something where they can go on holidays and have enough space. You can tow with it, 1.5 ton towing. That will be the only option, like I said before. And it'll have an electric tow bar, which will actually kind of retracts and disappears when you're not using it. So honestly, this car for me is so exciting to see in the Australian car market. So exciting to see it's going to be here so soon, and that so many of you guys will have this option to buy a car which is very affordable and an extremely high level of safety technology, of range, of software. It's like the full package. Thanks for watching.